Hi guys, in this training I want to talk to you a little bit about the equipment that I use when I'm doing my video recordings. Now there's two types of recordings that I do, well three. One is podcasting, the other is the screen recording, and the third one then is the actual recordings like this where I'm on camera. And each one has different equipment. So when I'm doing the screen recordings, I'm using a program on the Mac called QuickTime, but there's also Camtasia that will do this as well on PCs, or you could do this in Camtasia. There's other programs that you can use, but I use QuickTime because it's free. I don't use the internal mic on my Mac when I'm doing the screen recordings. What I actually use, if I can just grab it here, so the Blue Yeti, it's quite a heavy mic, it's a very good mic. Most people who are online start off with this when I use this one. And what I have is I have this little hat that I put on it, which is meant to reduce any sort of wind or rushes of air that may be going by. Now, coupled with this, what I use is this, a pop filter. Now, this goes onto the base. It's actually just been disconnected at the moment. And it covers the actual mic like that. And it will be this way. And what I will actually do is I will talk in very closely like that, so it gets good pickup. And the pop filter stops any popping sounds like that, okay? So that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to stop it. And I think it does work. I think it does work that it stops that. The Yeti is very good for the screencasting. For me, the secret to podcasting, screencasting is to talk clearly and slowly and leave pauses in between different sentences. Because when you're editing, it's much easier to edit out those pauses and put everything together. Because if I'm talking really quickly like this and then I have to try and find a pause, it's going to be really difficult. So when I talk like this, trying to find a pause is going to be really easy. And then with your editing software, you can just get rid of those pauses and then you can just build up the actual audio. So that's tip number one. Allow for pauses and talk slowly. Now, if I'm doing a video like this, the first thing that I was doing was I was recording everything on my iPhone, or you could do it on an Android phone, and then transferring it over to my laptop. So that was taking a little bit longer because I had to make sure that I had enough space on the iPhone, then I had to transfer it over, then I had to wait till it was transferred over. And it was suggested to me to buy an external webcam. Now I always wondered why would people buy external webcams, but now I know. Because the quality is as good as a smartphone, but it gives you more flexibility. Now, I have the Logitech Brio webcam, and this is a 4K webcam, which at the moment my Mac can't record 4K, but this is future-proofing the camera. But it's recording this in high definition. And I have it mounted on a very simple tripod. Now, the simple tripod it was actually an expensive selfie stick that was a selfie stick plus a tripod. At the time, it cost me about $40 or $50. And it's quite ideal because I can screw the actual webcam onto the tripod and it's quite stable. If I have the cable stretched a little bit, it has a tendency to fall over. So that's a little bit dangerous. And when I was filming sometimes with the iPhone, I had to actually grab the tripod because it actually fell over. So since I was recording exclusively with the iPhone, what I did was I bought another tripod. So this is the tripod that I bought, which is more like the traditional photographer's tripod that you see. And I can open it up like that. The legs extend. So if I want to get a higher shot of something, if I want more stability, I put it on this as well. So that was cheap. That was about maybe $15, $16. It wasn't expensive. And I like always to look at offers that are on Amazon Prime, because sometimes you get some very good offers that I think this was reduced supposedly from about $30 to $15. So that's a very useful addition. Can you believe it? I nearly forgot to tell you something really important. So I'm editing this back into the video and hopefully you might be able to see some creative editing going on. But I forgot to tell you about the other microphone that I use. So the other microphone I use is this little microphone, which you can hardly see. It's just here. And it is a lapel mic. Now the lapel mic is to be clipped onto your lapel or anywhere on your shirt or your tie or your blouse. And I plugged it directly into the Mac, but I can also plug it directly into my smartphone. And it gives much better sound quality. You see, the Yeti is very good, but I find it's very good for close-up work. The internal mic on the Mac or on any computer or your smartphone or even on the Logitech camera, which says it has 2 built-in microphones, doesn't pick up the quality as good. So this lapel mic was quite cheap, again $16, $17, I got it on special offer. And it works pretty good, because if I were to pull that out and I were just to talk without the actual lapel mic, the sound wouldn't be very good. Now, I do a little bit of post-production on the sound, but very, very small post-production, because iMovie is quite limited in that. But I'll show you that in another video. Okay, so now that I remember to do that, let me switch back to the original video. Now, with a tripod, you get more flexibility that you can move the camera around. Now, tip number 2 is when you are videoing, when you start the video, do a countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause and then start to speak, because sometimes the camera or the recording software takes a couple of seconds just to start. So what you don't want to do is record 10 minutes of video only to notice that the first 10 seconds don't appear. So you start mid-sentence. So I always do that, and in the editing software, I then cut that out. Now, another tip, I don't use it too much because I'm getting quite quick at the video editing, but when you make a mistake, you do a clap. Why? Because on the audio track of the editing software, you will see a spike in the sound, and then you know that that's something that you have to edit out or something that you have to change. The other advantage of having the webcam, I can stand back a lot more, I can move, and I don't have to worry about the camera. And it's an autofocus camera, so it should focus in on me. But what I can also do is I can check the video as I'm recording. So now I'm just looking down at my laptop screen, and I can see we're 6 minutes into this recording, and it's taken up about 5 gigs of recording space at the moment. When I was recording with the iPhone, I couldn't really see how the shot is looking. And if I move, then I can see, okay, I need to move this way. With the iPhone, I couldn't see that. I was just recording, and I was hoping that I'd set the camera up right and I wasn't sort of missing half of my head or half of my mouth here. Whereas with the tripod, I have a lot more flexibility. The other thing that I started to do, I got into video probably September, October of last year, and I used to go out with my selfie stick, and I used to go for a walk in the morning, and I thought, how can I multitask? So what I used to do was record an actual motivational quote and then explain that motivational quote as I was walking. And the videos were quite good, but the problem was that as I walked, you could see me walking like that, and you could see the background moving, and that wasn't ideal. So there's a solution for that on the market. And that solution is this, which is called a gimbal. And what a gimbal is it's a stabilizer. They use them in the movies as well. You mount the iPhone here, or your smartphone, and you turn on the gimbal, and it has motors. And as you walk, it stabilizes the video. Using the gimbal means that I can do outdoor shots now. And you can do panoramic shots. For example, you could start at the one corner and just go up like this, or do artistic shots of people's feet, for example, if they're running in a race. You can run with this, and the quality is amazing on it. That was a little bit more expensive, about $150. So I would say in the last 6 months, I've maybe spent about $300 on my video equipment, but now I have it at a nice level. The only thing that I need now are some studio lights. Now, living in a small apartment, I can't set up a permanent studio, so I need lights that are compact and can be mounted and dismounted quickly. And I'll eventually buy those, but at the moment the lighting isn't too bad here. The camera is very good because it compensates for the lighting. But what I tend to think is, if you're going to be recording some video, try and record it all in one go. So if you're recording a Udemy course, set up the tripod, set up the camera, and record it. As I said to you, the ideal course would be 1 hour to 2 hours long, maybe. And what I would do is, I would set up the camera, make sure the lighting is okay, the natural lighting, and then I would record it all in one go. When I say all in one go, I mean the whole course in one session, but I would break between lectures. Now that means that the shot is always the same, because what can happen is, if I don't do that, I move the tripod slightly the next day, and then the pictures are a little bit to the left, or they're a little bit to the right, or it's not the same. And something small like that could affect the quality of the course. Now, where do I record? Well, I record in my bedroom. Don't tell anybody that, but it's true. And I have the tripod at a certain level. So what's actually behind me is my bed, but you can't see that because the tripod's at a certain level. I can monitor the shot on the Mac, and I can see that there's nothing showing that shouldn't be showing. Behind me here is actually my couch. European apartments are very small, so that's why I can't mount a studio permanently. But that's not a problem. Since it's a white wall, it's a nice background, and if I want to superimpose something in post-production, I can actually do that. Now, post-production, you get the raw film, and now what you need to do is you need to produce that, because there's going to be mistakes and there's going to be pauses and there's things that you've said that you don't want to come out on the video. So this is where you're going to use something like iMovie, or maybe Camtasia, or Final Cut Pro, or ScreenFlow, or something on the PC that will allow you to edit your movie. So what we're going to do is, in the next video, I'm going to show you how I actually edit. I'm going to do a screen recording of me editing a piece of video.